it all happened at the same time. I saw some very famous artists. Back then, it wasn't very proven or anything yet, but abusing their power towards women. And I've
Yeah.
experienced that in the music scene, that some men love being loved by fans and by women, and they will use that for their advantage.
Maria of Future Palace, how are you doing today? Because Distortions is coming closer and closer and closer. How are you doing?
Hello, it's nice to be here. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good because tomorrow we will release our new music video. On Friday, the single, and then we play at Wacken, and so much going on. So
Yeah.
also the album release, but since there's so much going on, I'm just looking from week to week to week, and I'm just actually kind of scared that it's almost already September. It's like, where did this year go? But I'm
Yeah.
very happy to finally be sharing this album. Yeah, excited.
Awesome. Now you already say it, it's going so fast and can even be a little scary at times, but it is also, it's not just this cycle. Like, this is your third album in 4 years. It is going extremely fast. Is it going
True.
too fast to appreciate it? Like, do you have a moment that you can take a step back and go like, whoa, this is cool?
Yeah, finally, I've written a few songs exactly about that on that album, which include that experience of, I mean, compared to like big pop stars, it's compared quite small what we do. But since I've experienced these past years, I don't even want to imagine what it's like being like Billie Eilish or something. Because back then, or when you're like younger and a teenager and you romanticize this so much, you think, what is there to complain about besides like paparazzis for them, because it's the dream. And it is still a very big dream, and it's very beautiful, and I appreciate it. But these past years, I've struggled a lot with like burnout and being overworked, and how do you deal with mental health issues on tour, and yeah, working nonstop to make this possible. And it is so challenging, and I took a chance with these songs to think about all these feelings and process them. And especially yet last year went by like this. That's why I said like September's already there, because
Yeah.
we do so much that it's just every year just feels like seconds. It's very crazy. And especially one song, Rays of Light, is exactly about that. Because it's just about how can I appreciate the moment and the here and now, because all we have is here and now. And if you don't enjoy that, life will just pass by. And that's not really what I want. I mean, it's very nice to look back and say, wow, that's what I've done. But you have to kind of practice being present and remind yourself, like, be here and enjoy it, and not just look from day to day and to the next task, and next thing. And I'm trying to do that more and more now. And I feel like currently it's going pretty well with that. But I've had challenges, especially on that arena tour we had with Electric Callboy. It just felt so surreal, and looking back at it, it feels like it was a dream or something. It was
Yeah.
so fast and so much, and I couldn't really process the emotion of seeing that many people and playing in front of that many people. It felt very weird.
This is kind of like the year, or the summer specifically, that people will really, beyond your hometown, will really know you guys. It's your breakout year. You can already tell that. We can also see that from how Rising Empire is, supporting this release. There's a lot of buzz, in the, behind the scenes in the industry about your band. Are they also equipping you or providing like a support system around you? Because you're saying like, well, we're still a newer band or a younger band. It's going super fast now, and whoa, didn't expect all these things. Dealing with burnout. Are the people from Rising Empire kind of like working with you as well to make sure that there's people that can help you, that can coach you?
I usually have the least contact to the label because it's mostly our drummer slash manager Johannes who's like in chats with them and stuff. And he also manages so much for us. Like he's such a good piece for our band. He's very important because he manages so much and he knows so much because he is a booker. His job used to be, or he's still a booker, and he just has so much knowledge about this entire industry that really helps us. But also he's doing the pacing pretty much. Because of him, I think we do all the time plans, and sometimes it was overwhelming because we have such a high goal. We really want to do this like 100% full living, and to achieve that in such a short time, you have to give 200%.
Right.
And him together with the label, of course, they talk so much, and they do support us with commercials, It's mainly, I think, the promotion of the music and of us as a brand on social media or on YouTube and all that. And that is, I think, mainly it. And also they do have a shop also, but we also have our shop. So we kind of do some things double even, because what they do, we will do as well a lot of times, but not all of it, of course. There are so many things we cannot do that they do, and that supports us a lot, streaming wise. But I am not so close with all of that than Johannes is. So he could probably talk more about that. But I think what's very, maybe not leading to burnout, but what's a very important thing about us as a band is we're first of all a 3-piece, so not that many members, but all of us are very effective and productive. So we do as much as we can every day. And Johannes once said he wakes up and he thinks, what can I do today to improve Future Palace? And that he thinks that that's what a good manager has to do. And to me, it's actually the same, which is naturally inside of me, that I don't really think like that's structured, but it's more like a craving and more like a big wish that I think, okay, how can I do social media today? What videos could I do? How could I push us? What song could I do? That all of us have so many ideas constantly how to grow that, it's just so much, but it's good. It's annoying, but it's good.
Now, this is your third album, and in the world of hard rock and metal, a third album is a special one. It defines the sound of a band. It's the number of the beast. It's the master with puppets. It's the Sonne of Rammstein, right? Should we look at it that way? Is this have you properly found that voice, that sound on Distortions? Is this album a definition of who you guys are?
That's hard to say. We thought of that as well. We thought like, okay, this is the third album. This has to be like the breakthrough album. Make it or fake it, or make it or break it. I mean, or fake it is actually pretty funny.
Fake it till you make it and then you break it. Or
I think I try to not think of it as this way, because I was already under so much pressure, and I had like lots of health issues with my teeth, like wisdom tooth removal. We just got off our first headline tour through Europe and UK and just had like 1 month in between, and it was so much stress, so much time pressure and stuff. So for me, having that extra weight of thinking that this has to be the Future Palace album, that would have like killed me. So I tried to kind of let that go and just do what I really want and how I really felt, and let it out and work on it just as I worked on all the other albums before that, like real and honest and authentic and creative. And that's all I try to do, or we try to do. Of course, we treat single a bit different than singles, different than non-singles. But we try to make every song single worthy, let's say it like that. But I try to not think of it this way, because we could have written like, radio songs, or we could have done the same thing. But for us, or for me, doing an album is not about growth. I mean, it is about growth, but for me, it's way more about growth as an artist. And I try to, because I also get bored so easily, I wanted to do new things and things that are more fun life for me and things that I resonate with at the moment. And I change also from year to year. So it's more like a time capsule of what we are right now. And I wouldn't ever say that there's that is us, because we change. And I think that is who we are. We are change, constant change, from day one to now, from escape to run to now. And what people can expect is that change once again, and that open-minded band that we are, with genre-wise, lyrical-wise, and also my vocals. I tried more stuff here and there, more rapping, more screaming than before, and lower notes than before. So that's pretty much how I would sum it up. Yeah.
A lot of anxiety went into this album, feeling pressure, but you mentioned, feeling somewhat overwhelmed, if you will. Losing control is being referenced a few times on the album. But then you're also playing these festivals, and there's people that are discovering you for the first time, and you guys bring, I'm gonna call it like a colorful version of metalcore, post-hardcore. We can debate about that a million years, but there is like this whole new scene, if you will, with bands like yourselves and venues and who else, Set Your Sails, and somehow Chris of Anisoke is involved with every single one of those bands.
Yes.
And you see people just having a good time because of all of these different influences that you're just mentioning. It becomes a very fun musical album. But when we listen to the lyrics, it's, I think you said yourself at one point, like, we make sad music. But the music doesn't sound sad, but the lyrics can definitely be very sad or very serious. Is it weird for you when you're on stage? Forget about the fact there's thousands of people in front of you, but all these people are jumping around and having a good time and a smile on their face when you're talking about crippling anxiety, about depression, about discrimination.
Actually, it's not even that much that case, and I hope that a lot of songs do bring the message of what it feels like. For example, Dream State, our recent song, I really try to also musically translate the feeling, and that's usually my goal with it. Since I am not doing the instrumentals all by myself, of course, I think I would write some songs differently. But for example, Dream State, I've done the chorus, I've played it on my piano and said, let's do this chorus, because that's how I want it. Please, this time, let's do it how I want it. And I made sure to include this like half tone step from these tones, which creates such a like discomforting feeling and kind of sad feeling. So I really try to convey that feeling, at least in that song. And the songs do jump around sometimes, but I feel like they oftentimes go hand in hand with the message, besides maybe Decorabia, which was intentionally, which I can also explain. Most of it has its intention and is exactly supposed to sound like how it feels. So usually people do get that pretty easily. It's more like the anger, I think, that people get. They don't really smile at our shows, except for one song, which is Fever, and we now cut it out of our set because we're sick of this. We're not a party band, and we will not be, and it worked, especially on the Electric Callboy tour. And the song is also about feeling shit, but cheering up and having a like manic face. That's what the song is about. But we got it out of the set now, and I feel like now with the new songs we will have a more defined set, which has way more, which fits way more to us. And usually, I don't really see that many people smiling, actually. It's like pretty all right that they're more angry, and I love that they can let their emotions out. And on Paradise especially, I do the speech before the song about depression and all of that, and people sometimes cry and look at me and tell me after the show that it means a lot to them, or they didn't know us and that they could really relate to that song, and that's very, very beautiful. But sometimes, of course, especially like Decorabia sounds more like a dancey song. Yeah. Which is the irony of it, that sometimes life is very, very horrible, and then at the same time everything keeps going. The world just keeps going, and you have to function and stuff. So sometimes it's a bit ambivalent. Fighting if I was a man, would you talk to me the same way?
One song that stands out, it's already been released as a single and a video, but it does stand out if you've listened to the whole album, which I had a chance to do. There's obviously Echoes of Disparity. that song, it's more than a song, it's a statement, if you will. Wanted to ask you, it feels like today, and you referenced the year in the song. Feel like today the world is at the same time more inclusive than ever, but there's also, like, it's undeniable that conservative populism is on the rise in many places in the world. So it feels like we live in this world of extremes where, depending on where you are or how you look at it or who you're closest with, the world has never been better or has never been worse. And people of different camps will disagree on what makes it good and bad. What's your take on that? Like, how... I'm not going to ask you the silly question, what's it like being a girl in the metal band? But are you, in 2024, like, are you experiencing change? Or, and if so, and hopefully there is the change good? Is it not good enough? Like, what's your take on that? Because it's clear that this song is really important to you.
Yeah. That is very right, that things are very extreme on both sides. And also for my personal life, I think being extreme on one side makes you somehow not pig-headed, but makes you kind of blind at some point.
Yeah,
you have to always you have to always stay open-minded no matter where you are. But sometimes when something is out of balance, you need to put more weight on one side so it gets back in balance, you know?
Yeah.
That's why extreme point of views exists. For example, I'm vegan, and that is a pretty extreme move. But I said this world is so out of balance that sometimes we have to do extreme things to get back in the middle. I don't even think what we did is extreme at all. Not even... But it's just unusual, which is interesting. And I think that's exactly the reason why I did it, because I haven't seen it yet many times in the metal scene. I haven't seen many women speak up for themselves in a song, because, of course, it can make you unlikable. It can make you sound annoying and like, oh, wow, well, she's a woman. We got it. Like, blah, blah, blah. You know, some people could get annoyed by it. But I thought I have experienced some personal things. I've seen some things, and the world changes. As you said, the conservative side increases. Just yesterday, fun fact, I was in Hanover here in Germany, just because I was there for like a coaching, and I walked on the street, and there were old men with Dudelsack. I don't know what that is.
Bagpipes.
Yeah. On the street, I'm like, what the hell is this? And then we stood there, and my boyfriend, not me, got the flyer of "Stop Abortion, It's a Sin." And I'm like, holy shit, do they know who they stop right now? Like, I just released that song with that chorus, and they were just having big signs like, it's a sin and you should go to hell if you have a, like, oh my God. And I was like, okay, so this is such a current topic when I'm like here on the street, and these men, it was all men. They didn't even look at us women. Like, they didn't even talk to us. They protested that abortion should be banned. And that to me is one example that there are still countries like Poland, for example, Texas just banned the right for that. And it is something that is a right of a human body. Somebody should decide that themselves, and especially not a man should decide that for a woman. No, I think that's, first of all, we fought for that, and I think that's a right that should stay. And I saw the movement in the world, which is current. Poland is right next to us. We're in Berlin. Right next to me, people have less rights than me. And I think that is so sad. Then if you look down on the map, you see that, which is very sad, that the Afghanistan has been taken over again. The women's rights are gone, pretty much. And that I watched a few documentaries about that around that time, where all of that happened. And I got so sad about that. It all happened at the same time. I saw some very famous artists. Back then it wasn't very proven or anything yet, but abusing their power towards women. And I've experienced that in the music scene, that some men love being loved by fans and by women, and they will use that for their advantage. And I just got so fed up by all of that, plus my own experience, that I had to write the song. And it is so hard to sum it up in one song, and I don't even think I've done a close, good job, but I try to at least put some spotlight on that topic, because I think, still in 2024, there's much to be worked on, and just because the rights exist right now doesn't mean they will stay. And I think that's very important to mention just right now. If you look over to the US, a country or the world can change in 1 second if just one wrong person gains power. And that's why it's important to have the people, the communities, and the countries to have their own mindsets. So at the end, the country will have its own opinion, and not just one person with way too much power and weapons and stuff. So, yeah, that got a little bit big, but that's just how I think it is, and how the world is just right now, and that's pretty scary and sad.
With all the shows that you'll be playing, every night you play, yet another couple of people will sing that song along, and the message will spread. You mentioned communities a few times, and in a very different, this is a forced segue, in a very different way of looking at community, you also released, or you launched, I should say, your Patreon. And I wanted to ask you a specific question about that, because in the song Echoes of Disparity, I think, and I'm paraphrasing, you say something along the lines of like, hey, don't just look at me and look at my tattoos or something like that. But I do know that you have a tarot card tattooed on your arm.
I do.
And I noticed when you announced the Patreon that a lot of that is also maybe not tarot, but card deck inspired. So where does that fascination come from?
Nobody ever asked that. That's interesting. And nobody ever noticed that. It doesn't really have much to do together. We were just thinking or brainstorming about a design for the Patreon thing and entire theme, so it's not so empty. And we thought like, okay, our name is Future Palace. Let's just make fun with the name and create a palace. The Patreon thing is going to be a palace with people living inside of the palace, and the cards was kind of more like, I was actually more thinking of like the cards with like kings and queens and like that thing.
Regular playing cards.
Yeah, which is different from tarot cards, which is what I have tattooed on here. So yeah, that doesn't really have to do anything together. I just thought it looked cool, and we just created that. But the fascination for like spiritual stuff is only on me. My both bandmates have nothing to do with that. And fun fact is, as a side job, I do work for a witch, which nobody knows. I do still social media management, and I've worked with her for a few years now, and I do hear things. I'm not 100% in that world, and I don't really believe in astrology because it doesn't make that much sense, but I kind of do have a bit of spirituality inside of me, and a kind of like witchiness, where I do believe in some things that we cannot see, like quantum physics and stuff. Like, if you want to call me crazy, but I do believe in like energies, at least, if you can say so, that you can like attract a few things or not. And back then I just did a tarot reading with one of my old best friends, and it was right before I did the music thing. I always wanted to do this since I'm like 12. And I came out of the worst relationship of my life, which was very, very horrible. I also wrote almost an entire album about that, or first one. And I was asking for a future card and for a present card and a past card. And then that was my first time I've ever done that. He's like, let's do it, let's go. And then that was my present card back then, which is like the Two of Swords card. And it was just very accurate. And the future card was very interesting because it was showing a fight. And it was so right, because I was thinking about what do I want to do in my future, which is having this band. And I think I didn't even know them back then, but it showed me that I'll have to fight through a lot of things until I get there. And it was very right that you have to have a lot of strength. But yeah, that's that.
Yeah. All right. Well, Maria, there's a lot to be excited about besides having to fight a lot of battles to get where you are and continuing the success. There's going to be a lot of shows. You mentioned before that this album, a lot of songs could have been singles, and I agree with that. And I think I would label this as a single-heavy album, which means that a lot of songs could be singles. It also means it's going to be really tough for you to make that set list for the headline shows, when you have to figure out, like, hey, what songs are we going to play? But we'll figure out.
Yeah, so we're Future Palace. We already did the set list. That's what,
There
I
you
said
go.
that's what I said with 200% all done.
All right. There you go. So we'll all find out, as we play more of these shows, first festival shows, but then obviously also the European tour that's coming. Have so much fun with these moments. I really hope that you and the two guys can take that step back in between some of these shows and appreciate everything that's going on, because it's not normal in today's world for a band to have their third album already and all these shows and all these great things to look forward to after such a short time. So congratulations with that, Maria. And I'm excited for all the fans to listen to the full album when it comes out on September 6th.
Thank you, me too. And I am very much trying to embrace the gratitude every day. And I think that's so important for everyone in their lives, because life is so short and you have to be there every day. And I am very, very, very grateful. And it is surreal that we are where we are right now, and I'll play like Wacken in just a few days. So very grateful, and means a lot that people even like us. So thank you also for your kind words.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.